Revelation 2095. From the 3rd of October 1941. Collecting intellectual property. Blessed is the man who has found God. His life on earth has not been lived in vain. The world cannot offer him what God himself gives him, for the world only hands out earthly goods, and these are transient. But God gives spiritual treasures, and these retain their value for eternity. And what the human being has once received in spiritual goods he can never lose, it cannot be taken away from him either, it will not decrease even though he gives it away. And thus God rewards people for their devotion to him, he bestows divine gifts upon them, he makes them inconceivably happy, for even if the body feels little of it, the soul, however, finds every gift of strength in the form of knowledge extremely beneficial and grateful, and it then remains in constant contact with God because it no longer wants to miss the happy state. And this is a state of freedom and security in the Lord which no worldly pleasures can outweigh. And yet, this precious good is only little striven for and is not recognized as such, and even if it is offered to people, they do not know how to appreciate it. They pass it by carelessly and therefore cannot be fed with the bread of heaven either, which can only be received by those who sincerely desire it. And even if they take advantage of the pleasures of the world, their life is to be valued very low, and the end will be the bitterest poverty of spiritual treasures. For the human being can only take spiritual possessions into eternity, he has to leave earthly possessions behind. And therefore the human being should first collect the goods he can take with him, and he should think of his soul which has to live in want if its spiritual possessions are withheld. Spiritual possessions, however, can only be gained when the human being has learnt to recognize and love God, for then he will only strive for unification with him and be granted delicious things. He accepts love from God which expresses itself in the gift of knowledge. He now already lives in the spiritual kingdom although he still dwells on earth. But his soul continuously draws from the divine source of grace. And richly endowed he will then enter the eternal kingdom. Amen.